Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are diving into the most common real estate questions answered. We're gonna go over 5 questions I have pulled up over my screen over here, and we're just gonna dive in kind of rapid fire around, talking about some of the most common real estate questions that I get asked as a realtor here downtown in the city of Chicago. Thanks for hopping back on the channel today. If this is your first time here, my name is Jordan Pyle. I'm your go-to Chicago realtor servicing the downtown city of Chicago, helping buyers, sellers, and investors for the last 8 years full-time now. So I run a small team called Pyle Residential, and these are some of the questions that we get often. And some of these may be beginner, some of these may be a little bit more complex, but these are 5 things that we pretty much get every single time that we're working with a buyer or a seller in the city of Chicago. And this will likely be a multiple part series to this type of video. We're just gonna dive into 5 of them today, maybe 6, maybe 7. But we're just gonna rapid fire these, and hopefully this is helpful and hopefully you get some good info. If you don't mind, if you could give us a like on this video, comment down below any additional questions you have, and definitely be sure to smash the subscribe button so that you catch all of our future videos in this series. So I'm just gonna pick a couple here. All right, so let's start with this one first. So number 1 on the list is, how should I prepare my house before selling it? And to keep these answers condensed, what I'm gonna say is ultimately price, condition, and exposure is what sells your home. So the first thing that you wanna do is make sure that you're decluttering your home. You're basically getting the condition as good of shape as possible. So if you have some deferred maintenance, you might wanna start taking care of that, potentially painting, decluttering, staging things if needed. And that'll kind of get your condition to where it needs to be so that we can get photos done. And then obviously working with an agent who can get you maximum exposure on your property through their different marketing channels. That's gonna be incredibly important. But really just engaging with the realtor, getting a listing agreement in place, and from there letting your agent go to work and basically do their job and execute their process of getting your house on the market publicly and getting it sold. Number 2 on the list, we are talking about, should I order a home inspection? And the answer, in my opinion, is definitely yes. There's situations that might call where you have to basically take the property as is for whatever reason. However, you're still entitled to a home inspection. And if there's anything that's major material defects or health and safety issues, it's still going to protect you and insulate you from different legal liabilities and things like that, and essentially giving you an out of the contract in case there's stuff that's found that's really significant and that ultimately you are not comfortable moving forward with the deal with. So with all that being said, you should definitely get an inspection. The cost of it is going to fall on you as the buyer. My inspector charges somewhere between $450 and $500 for the inspection. That's going to produce basically a 30 to 50 page report of every single thing of the property, all the different things and call outs that the inspector makes, whether it's health and safety, whether it's just homeowner suggestions, whatever the case may be. But you're going to have access to that report, and we're going to get an opportunity to negotiate on those items if any exist that we feel are reasonable asks from basically the seller from the request of the buyer. All right, the third question that we're going to dive into is, what is the selling price of my home? And that's kind of a loaded question, but I'll just kind of give you an understanding of how we determine fair market value. So as an agent, we look at fair market value as basically the amount that we feel the property will trade for, which is what a buyer will essentially pay and what a seller will let it go for. And this is also the number that is likely going to be reported from an appraisal standpoint if they were to look at and analyze all the comparable properties in the area. But the way that we do this is we take basically 3 subsets of data. The first subset of data that we take is anything that's active around the subject property. Let's just say you have 123 Main Street. We're essentially just going to draw a radius around it. It could be a quarter mile, it could be half a mile. Since I'm in downtown city of Chicago, it's more condensed. So if you're out in a different neighborhood, obviously you might have to go 2 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, whatever the geographical area kind of allows you for. The first subset of data that we're going to look at is basically all of your active properties, which is AKA your competition. So we're going to pick the subject property. Let's just say it's 123 Main Street, and we're going to draw a radius around that about quarter mile, half a mile. So if you're in a less urban market like I am here downtown city of Chicago, that might be a wider radius. But here in Chicago, we take about a quarter mile to a half mile, and I want to see everything that is the same type of property, meaning the same property type in terms of configuration. So let's just say it's a 2-bed, 2-bath, or a 3-bed. Let's use the example of a 3-bed, 2-bath. Then we just want to understand, what are all the other 3-bedroom, 2-baths that are currently on the market trying to be sold? What are they listed for? What do they look like? What's their condition? How is their marketing? Things like that. So that's the first subset of data that we look at. The second subset is anything that's currently under contract. So these are now all the homes in that same subset of data, but these are all the ones that are now under contract. And we start to take a little bit more weight to the under contract ones because we don't yet know what they're going to sell for, but we know that it was a price that caused that unit to go under contract. So that is kind of an indicator or a little bit of a ticker to show that basically, hey, they were priced in a ballpark to elicit an offer. And then the third thing and final thing that's most important is we're going to look at 12 months of closed comparable data. So in that same geographical area, radius, quarter mile around that subject property, we're going to see what has closed for 3-bed, 2-baths. And all of those closings are going to be a little bit more reliable. They're going to be a little bit more of like proof in the pudding because those are public data. Those have been published. Those are your direct closed sale comps. And that's mostly what your appraiser is going to look at to determine fair market value. So we take a combination of all of that and basically just see how your property stands up against the competition and based on what has closed in this area in the last 12 months in order to determine fair market value. And then based on fair market value, we typically come up with an offer strategy. Sometimes we list it right at fair market value, sometimes a little bit lower, sometimes a little bit higher. Every situation is different. So that's why it's important. If you have any questions about your home specifically, it's smart just to even just know what the value of your home is. Feel free to reach out down below, send us your address. If you're here in the Chicago market, we can get you a number within 24 to 48 hours, basically what we think it would be like without stepping foot and seeing your property in person, but just based on general sales data and comparable properties. Next up on the list here, we're talking about what is an agent's commission fee. And so I'm gonna say for both buyers and sellers, it's different. So in the city of Chicago, the commission is determined by the agreement between the selling agent or the listing agent and the seller of the property. So the seller essentially pays the full commission on a real estate transaction here in Chicago. So basically what that looks like is the selling agent or the listing agent is going to have a relationship with the seller. They're going to agree. It can be any number. There's no standard necessarily. However, I typically see things between, let's just call it 5 and 8%. Somewhere between 5 and 8% for the total listing fee, and there's a co-op commission of that. So that's 2.5%. 2.5 co-op fee goes to any agent that brings the buyer that ultimately closes on the deal. So if you're getting 5% from a listing agent standpoint and you're giving 2.5% away, then basically it's a 2.5 split down the middle. So all that being said though, there's no repercussion to the buyer. So from a buyer's agent standpoint, it's free to offer that service to buyers. So if you're just purchasing a home, there's actually no fee at all whatsoever for you to use a buyer's agent to help you buy. Now, if you're on the sell side, like I said, this could be anywhere between 5 and 8%. So when I am putting together a net proceeds list, this is another thing our team likes to offer is basically if you take a certain purchase price, an estimated purchase price minus all of your closing costs, your title fees, your attorney fees, your tax proration, minus your mortgage payoff, whatever that number is your net proceeds. So the amount of net proceeds you're gonna walk from the closing table with all closing costs considered. So we like to factor that to be about, somewhere between, with commissions, that's going to be somewhere between 5 and let's just call it 10%. So basically with all that, your seller's net proceeds is going to tell you, and your percentage is going to be somewhere between, let's just call it 7 and 10% total, basically cost to sell your property. All right, and we got one more, just kind of looking to see which one I want to answer for you today. So this will be the last one for today, which is, should I sell my current property before buying a new one? And the answer is, it depends. A lot of things in real estate are very situational. So if you need to sell your property before buying another one because you need the proceeds or the equity that you have in your current home to put as a down payment on your next home, then basically, yes, you will have to sell your home first before you go and buy another property. If you have the means and the ability to carry 2 mortgages and you can get pre-approved for your next home without having the equity and the proceeds from the sale of your current home, then I would say, yes, you can go ahead and do it, but you also don't want to carry 2 mortgages for an extended period of time. So just making sure you have your ducks in a row so that once you actually do close on that new property, your current property is selling as quickly as possible, or you're getting a renter in there, whatever your exit strategy is for that piece of property, making sure that you're executing on that right away so that you can minimize the amount of time that you're basically carrying 2 mortgages. So those are some of the most common real estate questions that I get asked as a full-time real estate agent here in the city of Chicago. We're going to do multiple series of this type of video in this format, basically just bringing in questions that I get asked on a daily or a weekly basis and answering them for all of you. If you have any questions about the Chicago real estate market, whether you're moving from one place to another in the Chicago market, maybe becoming a homeowner for the first time after you're currently renting, or maybe you're moving to Chicago and relocating here, I would love to chat with you about your real estate goals. Feel free to reach out down below in our real estate strategy call link, and we can chat about exactly that, put together a bulletproof strategy for you to succeed with your home buying and selling in the new year. So thank you so much for tuning in this video. If this has been helpful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and we'll catch you on all of our future videos.